Late to own goals by Manchester United leave the score at 2-2 at the end of the first leg. A scintillating first half from Manchester United with Anthony Martial, Bruno Fernades, Sabitzer lighting up Old Trafford. The game looked dead and buried. The tie looked as though Man United were going to kill it off. A lot of Man United fans celebrated one of our best first half performances of the season. I'll get onto some of the nonsense I heard around that as well. And I do believe in karma in life. And in the second half, we started off a little bit slowly. And then Ten Hag, who, listen, has had a brilliant first season at this club, but I will call it out, made some horrendous substitutions. I know there's a lot of Manchester United fans who don't like Bruno Fernades, but you're wrong and you're idiots. This guy is our captain. This guy is our leader. And Ten Hag taking him off tonight was a huge mistake. Taking off, I know Martial's only just returned. We need him at the weekend, but taking him off and Bruno for Weghorst and bringing Elanga onto the pitch at the same time, you just took away any real threat up front. You really did. And from that moment, Sevilla got more and more into this game and put us under severe pressure. And still, they didn't look like they were going to score. They still didn't look like they were going to score in this game. And Malacia got done by one of the oldest tricks in the book. He stops defending. But go back and listen to it. Navas literally shouts, "Leave it." And he leaves it. That works on, that is a schoolboy error. You hear it. Go back and watch it. You hear, "Leave it." And he leaves it. And the cutback comes in, takes two deflections and goes in. Then Lisandro Martinez's season looks done and dusted. That looks like a bad injury. You can tell by the pop, the facial expressions, the innocuous nature of it. That's probably his season over. And then, listen, I normally get on at Maguire. There's nothing he could have done about that own goal. It was a freak goal. For all the shots that you ever see go off target, for that to happen is just freak bad luck. But I still blame Manchester United. 2-0 up, cruising, and the team became complacent. But I do believe in karma. And I do believe some Manchester United fans brought this upon themselves tonight. Because I saw abuse at halftime from Man United fans for Marcus Rashford. Look how much better we are without him. We don't need him. Blah, blah. Idiots. Idiots. Every one of you idiots. We were brilliant against Barca home and away with him. We were brilliant in the last two games with him. There are some Man United fans that are just so negative, they bring this on themselves by the football gods. And I believe in the football gods. I really do. I believe in that judge. And Man United fans brought that upon themselves tonight with their arrogance and their hateful nature instead of just enjoying a brilliant performance. I really do. It wound me up so much seeing that. We're better without him. We're better without this guy. I saw people, we're better in the second leg without Bruno. Knobheads. You saw what happened today when Bruno Fernades left that football pitch. A catastrophic mistake from our manager, and the arrogance of some of our supporters is spellbinding at times. Spellbinding, because there were so many good performances tonight. Anthony was scintillating this evening. Scintillating, dangerous, aggressive. So unlucky not to score. Heavily involved in a lot of the build-up play when we were good in the first half. Sancho in the first half, great. Martial, amazing. Bruno, good from first minute to last. How he was booked, I have no idea. You know, there were some shocking refereeing decisions tonight as well. Erik Lamela should be sent off. Studs on the shin of Casemiro. But I'm not going to bemoan that because we had the game in our hands. We had the game in our hands and we bottled it. I'm going to call a spade a spade. Erik Ten Hag taking off Martial, taking off Bruno, bringing on Elanga and Weghorst was a mistake. I know we have Forest at the weekend. I understand that. I know Bruno's played a lot of football. He should have stayed on the pitch and we should have kept Martial on until that third goal went in. If we get the third goal, the game is done, dusted and finished. Now we have a very difficult tie away from home in the next round. And it's been a couple of times now in the last few weeks that Erik Ten Hag has made bad substitutions. I'm not going to behave like certain fan bases out there that don't like to criticize their manager when they make mistakes. I don't really understand that. It's a little bit weird. You're doing your club an injustice, in my opinion, but he got it wrong. But there's also Man United fans tonight who I believe upset the football gods with their attacking of Marcus Rashford. We're better without him. Did you see the second half? If Rashford's on that pitch in that second half, we put the game to bed. Bruno's on that pitch. If Martial stays on. So many things that annoyed me tonight. Some of our fans are absolute morons. Honestly, they're morons just looking for attention. Honestly. And the players, honestly, they've all just annoyed me. They've all just annoyed me. And Ten Hag, if I was in front of him right now, I wouldn't swear at him. I wouldn't call him names. But I'd 100% say to his face right now, you absolutely screwed it tonight. You messed it up. We know that we lack quality overall in this squad. We're at the beginning of the rebuild. You can't finish a European quarterfinal with Weghorst and Elanga on that football pitch together. You can't take out our captain. And even though we had Eriksen and Casemiro out there, those guys are a bit ring rusty. Casemiro's not played in a month. Eriksen 2 months. Just got overrun in the end. Very, very frustrating indeed. The Vol here says, one, Man United have got away with not killing games off all season. I hope this can be something they learn from. 2, Malacia was having a stinker before the first goal. 3, I'm predicting Licha out for the season. Yeah, he's out. I cannot imagine that's going to be anything less than 2 or 3 months. That looked like that's either Achilles just popped. That's actually up to 9 months, between 9 to 12 months out. If it's an Achilles, if it's a ligament that's, because he did kind of roll the ankle a bit. If it's a ligament, you're still looking at 2 months. So he'll miss the rest of the season now. How did you guys bottle the lead? That's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. But again, unlike certain fan bases, I can take it on the chin and call it what it is. You guys are not Spurs. I know we're not Spurs. That's what we win trophies. It's a worse bottle job than Liverpool versus Arsenal. I mean, yeah, you can point score that way. I'm calling it a bottle job for what it is. I'm not here about point scoring. I'm going to call it what it is. I can take it on the chin because I'm a strong man. Alpha still. Malacia put in one of the worst performances of a Man United player this season. Absolutely shocking. Luke Shaw is clear. I mean, anyone that ever thought Luke Shaw wasn't clear, again, is a moron from outer space and doesn't deserve a footballing opinion. Malacia may grow into be a better player, but we all know Luke Shaw is a better left back than Malacia. Anyone who thinks differently, if you can come on here and prove to me why, I'll give you £100,000 cash from my bank account tonight. But none of you will be able to do it. None of you could do it. 100 grand up for offering. If any of you actually thought that was true. By the way, I think Malacia might have a future, but anyone who thinks he's better than him now, again, brain dead. Honestly, you need to go to the hospital and have your brain checked. You need a lobotomy. Erik Ten Hag made mistakes. You tried to game manage, but we got done. He did. He did try to game manage. But yes, he got it wrong. There's no other way to go with it. There's no other way to go with it. Taking Martial off and Bruno off was ridiculous. Yes, 100K. If you believe Malacia is better than Luke Shaw, and you can come on here and prove me wrong, and that means stumble bum me, say things, and I sit there and go, and can't reply, 100 grand cash. I'll give it to you. But no one can do it because nobody believes it. Nobody believes it. So honestly, I'm not really risking any money because nobody with a brain thinks that's true. Terry, hold that. Yeah, but Danny Wilson, do you understand the concept of the banter? Hold that. Hold that is when you're not accepting the I'm calling it a bottle job. That's holding it. You don't need to say hold that when man's holding it. Honestly, this is when geeks try and talk like they're from the road. They get it wrong. You know what I mean? Come on now, Danny. Evening, Terry. Lucky there is no away goals. We have 70%. Sorry. So we have a 70% chance of going through next round. Man United don't need to go out. Don't need to go out and attack. Look, we're a better team than Sevilla. We proved it in the first half. We need to go out and attack. We need to be sharp. We need to be aggressive, and we'll take them apart. And that is what we did. But we do have a problem with killing games off. And that's why in the first half it annoyed me when people were saying, oh, look how complete the team looks without Rashford in it. Because I've seen us do this with Rashford in the team and either not take our chances or not kill games off and fade in the second half. Man United fans have been doing this for about 5 or 6 years. There'll be a moment where a player everybody dislikes gets dropped and we improve and we say, look, see, we had a game without Bruno. Look how amazing we are. We did it to Pogba all the time. He'd miss some games, would look great, and everyone goes, see, you take Pogba out, we're a better team. Within 3 or 4 performances, we were awful again. We've just got this habit of letting our player agendas take over and take away from supporting Manchester United. And we did it again tonight as a fan base. It's honestly, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. Rant says that Malacia is better. Then Rant's, I'll challenge Rants on that. There's no way Rants believes Malacia. No way. You're lying to me. Ransom Bance does not think Malacia is a better footballer, defender, anything than Luke Shaw. He's got a better body. That's probably about it. I bet he's got a better looking body than Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw looks a bit like me, dad bod at 37. No way, you're lying. Rants does not believe that. Does not believe it. Dan here says Sevilla will dive, cheat, and waste time now. Ten Hag needs to rattle his head with those subs. Absolute abysmal players to no intensity. I know what you mean there. Fuming. You're absolutely spot on. A complete lack of intensity, a lack of fight in that second half. And the most embarrassing point is that we were so good in the first half. It was so brilliant. We proved we can score goals without Rashford, which was a big test for us tonight. And actually, I was looking forward to coming on and saying, look at that. Everyone said that we'd crumble after losing to Liverpool. Everybody said we'd fall apart in the league without no Casemiro. We didn't. Everybody said we couldn't score goals without Rashford. We can. And then this. And then this. Absolutely abysmal second half performance and management from Erik ten Hag needs to be criticized massively. It absolutely does. Yes, the first 25 minutes was astounding, but I'm over that now already. I'm over that. I'm not even worried. Terry in tears. Of course I am. I care and love. I care about my club, and I love my club. I love my club so much. I gave up my 2 season tickets in the Stretford End that took me 10 years to get in protest against our owners. That's how much I love my club. I would sacrifice. So if a genie or God or an angel come out of nowhere now and said, if you stop watching Man United games, you become the greatest team in the world for the next 30 years, I'd stop watching. I'd sacrifice my own enjoyment for my club to be better. That is how much I love my football club. So yes, of course I'm in tears. And of course I'm angry when we lose. Any fan of a club, and I've called out certain fan bases this season, when their team loses or drops points and they pretend that's okay, they're liars. They're liars. Nobody that loves their football club is happy when you drop points, bottle games, or lose. They're just liars. Absolute liars. Someone here says liars. No, you don't. Bruv, man I gave up my season tickets. I haven't bought, barring Archie that's 8 years old, I haven't bought my children a single piece of Man United clothing, memorabilia, anything since they've been born. My son's 8 years old and begs to go to the games, and I will not take him. I will not take him until the Glazers are gone. So I do not believe in giving those scumbags my money. So yeah, when you say lies, you don't know me, bruv. And someone like KJ that's backstage knows me very well now. I'm a man of my conviction. Everything I ever say I'm going to do, I do. Everything I ever promise any human being on earth, I follow through with. That's just me. I'm a genuine man of my word. So yeah. By the way, there's no genie and no God and no angel that's coming down to make me that offer, by the way. I was being a little bit maybe there is. Maybe I'll be the first person in like 2,000 years to get spoken to by God. But there we go. I doubt it, by the way. I don't think I'm that special. But can you imagine if it was me? But can you imagine if it was me who was the first person in 2,000 years to get chatted to by God? I'd be intrigued to know what God, because that'll be an argument, wouldn't it? I mean, imagine it was Zeus. Imagine all the modern religions were wrong and it was man like Zeus, of a thunderbolt. Can you imagine? They've all just been wrong this whole time. Anyway. Be honest, today was Ajax 3-2 Spurs. Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was bad today. I'm not going to play it down in any which way, shape, or form. O'Malley here says, not a United fan, but these injuries were bound to happen due to Ten Hag having to play almost team complete in 4 comps. Board handicapped him. Yeah, listen, Sandro Martinez is a freak. Rashford's, is a bit of wear and tear. Eriksen's was a contact injury. We haven't had that many. Varane's got injury problems. I'm more concerned about a lack of intensity in the second half than I am the injuries. Neeks on DR Sports at 2 up. The Europa League is below us, only to go and draw 2-2. The arrogance of this man. Hang your head in shame. See, this is what I mean, Neeks. Don't say these things. Leave it to other clubs. One thing I got taught when I used to go to Old Trafford regularly, one thing that the locals and there's one guy who used to sit next to me called Baz. He's great grandfather physically helped build the club. And he's like, we never get arrogant. We never count our chickens before they hatch. We don't even one tradition amongst born and bred Manx is if you predict a win, you predict narrow, honest wins. They don't like the arrogant side of it, right? Legitimately. And saying things like that, the football gods hate it. Don't do it. Terry, did you just blink 6 times? Love that. Second half was so infuriating. Those subs hurt us more than they did help us. Intensity dropped, sloppy. That yellow card for Bruno was ridiculous. It was even more ridiculous that there was an accidental handball in the second half where no yellow card was given. It was a disgrace. Malacia will start the most games now. Sure, left, right, centre back. Yeah, listen, Malacia had a bad game tonight. He'll play again. He deserves a chance. He's very young, but he needs to be criticised for his poor performance. That has to happen. When people say Arteta was being naive, making subs in some games, what about Ten Hag? I mean, I've called it out. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. His subs were poor tonight. They weren't naive. They were poor. Again, unlike certain fan bases, I can call my manager out without saying I want him sacked. Terrible from him today, but I've said it 4 times now. I don't need to keep repeating it. Sorry, I've already done that one super chat there. Right, bringing the panel out now, people. Because I know what some of you want me to do is say shit, it needs to be sacked. That just isn't happening. You're not going to get that from me. Are United still going for the quad? We never were, Carl B. That shit banter, bruv. You've done that on about 10 streams. Boring now. Again, once you've done the banter once or twice, it's milk, bruv. Do you know what I mean? You've milked it so much now. It's like if you squeeze on the tit, dust is coming out, brother. Do you know what I'm saying? It's been milked out, my G. Done now. Cheers, Carl B. And by the way, I know Lee Gunner still owes you 200 quid. I'm going to make him hold. I'm going to hold him to that, by the way. I won't forget. Smash the like and share button, people. Panel coming out now. Let's do it. Welcome back to the show, guys. KJ, talk to me. 2-0 up, threw it away.
Yeah, them man just decided to take our positive match reaction that we was gonna have at halftime about Martial, Bruno, the Sabitzer's 2 goals, the way that we're playing, the enthusiasm, the belief that we can go win this competition, to now being like that was a disgrace and a pathetic second half and pathetic performance overall. Now they've just really just ruined their good work in the first half with that second half performance, and it's frustrating. It is really frustrating. 2 own goals, but you can't say that they were undeserved for Sevilla. They were honest in that second half. They deserved the goal, and it just makes it worse that there were 2 own goals, and the second one obviously coming off Maguire's head. It's obviously not his fault, but it just adds to the embarrassment, or it adds to the salt and to the wound, because everyone likes to go at Maguire. His head is big, blah, 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 and it obviously hits his head and it goes in our own net. So it's peak, man. And yo, the season's looking a bit more techie as it goes along, man. We'll overcome a little period and then we just bang straight back into one now. Rashford out for how long? We don't know how long Martinez is going to be out for. No Bruno for the second leg. They've made it difficult for themselves, and those players got arrogant at the end of the day. They thought, 2-0 up, we're at home at Old Trafford, easy going. But they forgot 2 things. Sevilla have new manager bounce, and they have Europa League powers. They are Europa League FC. This is their competition. To even think you can go to sleep against these guys in this competition is foolish. And we got what we deserved in the second half. And we've got a really hard task now to go to that flipping stadium of theirs. And we have to win on the night, not just draw. We could have drew. If it was a 2-0, we could have had a draw. We're calm. 2-2, we have to win now. We have to win. And with the lack of our quality players, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Can we do it? Yeah. But Ten Hag needs to not do stuff like he did today and throw it away. Frustrating night overall, Terry.
No, it certainly was. And we'll get onto the injuries and obviously Bruno's suspension for the next game coming up. Dizzy, we were cruising in that game. The subs were poor, but we were really flat in the second half. Why do you think there's this lack of ability for this team to maintain that first half performance in the second?
Bro, I have no idea. The first half was easily some of the best football that we've seen. The fluidity of the front three. I said it. What's it called? This is my. I like the look of the midfield because it had good balance. It had everything that we needed. And to be honest, I think I blame Ten Hag and his substitutions. I think that the substitutions I think that the substitutions put a seed of complacency into the team. I think the team looked at it. Ten Hag's taking off Bruno, Martial, all of our players that are doing something, and it's a case of okay, well the work job's done now. I think, and obviously football is a game of fine margins. So if you drop off by 5%, that's a game changer. We dropped off and immediately we gave all the onus to Sevilla, and it was poor, man. That second half was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. I'm pissed. I'm not gonna lie.
Mate, I feel exactly the same, and it's difficult because in that first half, as we know, there were some really good moments. The interplay between Sancho and Martial early on was great. Bruno dictating from the middle again. Sabitzer with a brace. We were defensively sound. There was a little moment at the end of the first half where the header where De Gea made a save, but we looked so good. And I really felt we'd go into that second half. We control the play. We'd get a third, maybe even a fourth. And they gave us a lot of space. There was a lot of space to run in behind. There's a lot of opportunities to kill the game off, but we just couldn't do it. From your point of view, Staffy, is this on the subs or are you looking somewhere else?
Well, you got to start with the subs because the game pretty much changed after those three subs. It wasn't just Bruno, it was Bruno, Martial, and Sancho. Sancho wasn't on his game, but you took out three of your most important players, Bruno being the most important today, because like him or not, criticize him or not, today was his game. He was playing a very good role in that team. He wasn't the 10. He wasn't the guy that's spamming the ball all the time and losing the ball. And we sit here and we complain about him. I personally complain about that, but I had no complaints today. Like KJ said, I'm sitting here at halftime. Life is good. I'm thinking about how am I going on the terrace today trying to make a show? Like what am I going to say about Martial? What am I going to say about this? What am I going to say about that? And then just like all hell broke loose in the second half. The main thing was the changes. I have to say that. I have to mention the selfishness of Anthony, and I'm a big fan of Anthony. I support Anthony. I talk about Anthony a lot. All those Arsenal fans that try to compare him with Pepe all the time, I'm on their asses. I'm like, no, he's not this, he's not that. But today I got to call him out. Even if he scores that goal, why are you even shooting from there? He had, I believe it was Martial and Sancho on his left. He lays it off to one of them. That's an easy tap in. It's moments like this where you look at someone like Sancho, who didn't have a good game, in my opinion, but you lay that ball off to him, he gets an easy tap in. No one's talking about him again, saying it was a bad game. The only reason no one's talking about Sancho today is because there's so many other events that we have to cover. But if we had a good game and won, people would have been on Sancho like, look, we won today. He played in for Rashford, and he still had a bad game. So, but that's something else. The selfishness, the subs, I believe those are the two main factors that cost us the game. And the unluckiness, honestly, with the injuries. You lose Varane at halftime, and then Lisandro, I mean, like, if you guys played ball, I'm not talking to you guys directly. I'm just talking about anyone who's watching the show. If you played any sports and you see someone who grabs his ankle like that with no contact because he heard something and he's like, "What is this?" and he's looking behind him, you know that's an Achilles. I'm hoping it's not, but I think it is. And I'm just pissed right now. Not more about the result. I'm pissed about the injuries, and I'm looking at some of the people that send in chats. I'm not gonna call out who you are, but there's people that are celebrating that Lisandro injury. If you don't know what an Achilles is, I'm not going to sit here and wish your team, because you're definitely a rival. I'm not going to wish your team injuries because I'm not like that. But if you're laughing at another man's injury, that injury could be up to 9 months, like Terry said, 9 months to a year. People who come back from Achilles don't come back the same. If you're sitting here and you're celebrating another man's injury, I'm not going to wish your team harm, but I'm really, really going to wish you just feel something similar to that. Because if you're laughing at that, you're a dickhead and you're a pussy. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No, you're absolutely fair to call it. Listen, Man United doing well, Man United winning. Listen, I've told it, I've been saying it for months on the terrace. We are everybody's number one rival. We're Arsenal's biggest rival. We're Liverpool's biggest rival, City's biggest rival, Chelsea's biggest rival. We're Burnley's biggest rival. We're Manchester United Football Club, the biggest club in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's disgraceful what they're doing in terms of bantering Lisandro, but it also, I take an element of pride and it ends debates. Celebrating Lissandro being injured tells you how highly they rate Lissandro. When Paul Pogba was about to leave Man United, everybody, rivals were celebrating it. Why? Because we were losing one of the best midfield players in the world. When Rashford gets injured, everybody celebrates it. Why? Because he's one of the best attackers in the world. When Casemiro gets banned, as much as they play him down as being, oh, he ain't that good, steady Eddie, they celebrate because they know how good he is. So as horrible as it is, I always like take the quantum of solace to come from the stupidity of some individual rivals is that. But look, I think what you said about Sancho again tonight was great. He faded in the game, and the only player that faded tonight that I kind of let off the hook a little bit is Martial, because he's only just returned from a long time of being out. He probably needed to come off. Weghorst, was he the right guy to come on? Maybe, but you had to keep Bruno Fernades on.
Bruno should have stayed 100%.
I know people don't like hearing it. He is our best player, and he's been our best player this season. Casemiro has been amazing, but Bruno Fernades is our leader. He's our captain. And between him and Rashford, this is I keep saying to people, do you know what? Do you know why we didn't win tonight and why we drew? GA. GA is the most important thing in football once you've got a foundation and a base. If you ain't got a base, forget about it. Once you've got a base like we're growing, you need to kill games off. Bruno being on, Martial if he was able to stay on the pitch, we would have killed that game off, another goal, and this wouldn't have happened. But Johnny, I want to speak to you, bro. I mean, were we unlucky tonight? 2 own goals, 2 big injuries. They should have gone down to 10 men as well, or was this just United bottling it?
No, it was a bottle job. Let's just call it a spade. If it was Arsenal or Spurs or City or Liverpool, it'd be a bottle job. It'd be a straight bottle job. We bottled it. The complacency in the second half. Like, if you'd have heard me, Terry, on my half-time space, I was high as a kite. I was like going down a roller coaster. I was loving life. I thought Marcel was man of the match. I thought Bruno right behind him. I thought them two put on a clinic in first half. And even put a tweet out saying, GA doesn't define the player. Look what Marcel and Bruno did that first half. I was impressed by that. GA doesn't impress me. It never will do. But what Marcel and Bruno did in the first half, irrespective of GA, was a clinic. And that's what impressed me most. That's not to say that GA is not important, Terry, but their GA doesn't impress me. Well, what Marcel did that first half was fucking sensational. What Bruno did in that first half, sensational, regardless of GA.
Yeah, but do you know why? But do you know why it was sensational? Because at the end of it, it created goal-scoring opportunities. If they did all of that, but their final passes were overhit, we'd have a go at them, wouldn't we?
No, because that assist to Sabitzer, yeah. So Marcel gets on the touchline, pass it to Bruno. If that don't go in, that phase of play would have still impressed me.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but imagine we have all that. Do you know who has that phase of play loads in games but doesn't score goals? Chelsea. They're 11th. The GA on the. I get what you're saying. You want both, right? And so do I.
Yeah.
But without goals and assists, it's nothing. It's first goal knickers.
For in my opinion, that was one of the best performances I've seen from Bruno Fernades in 3 years. I mean, that Bruno today, from the first, I thought it was shit in the second half, but the first half, that Bruno, I would get behind that Bruno 110% because I thought it was brilliant.
Johnny, can I say something about that? Because I gotta go in a couple minutes, guys.
Oh.
I'm a bad bro, because I just gotta go in a couple minutes. Didn't mean to hurt if I'm so sorry, but I just want to touch on that Bruno point. I totally agree with you. I saw you tweeting about it. 100% I agree with you. This is probably one of the best Bruno performances I've seen. I just wanted to say the reason why I think Bruno played this magnificent today, when you look at the shape of the team today, when you're playing 3 attackers that all of them like to drop and get the ball, when you have Marcel who drops to the midfield, who asks for the ball to feet, Bruno no longer has to look up and look where Rashford is running. This is why he gives the ball away a lot. And I'm not, KJ, I'm seeing your face. I'm not mad at Rashford. I'm not going at Rashford. Rashford has his moments. He has his importance in the team. I'm just talking about the way we played today. 100% when Rashford comes back, I still want him in the team. This is not a dig at Rashford. I'm just trying to say what made Bruno look even better today. When he doesn't have to play too many long balls and many more ball to feet, this is what happens, because he always had the technical ability. We just always question his decision making. If you thought Bruno doesn't have technical ability, then that's a different issue. Then you just don't understand ball. When you have Martial always dropping into the middle. The reason Sabitzer gets these 2 goals today, when you look at him, is because he's smart enough to make those runs behind the striker. If your striker doesn't drop to get the ball like that and drags the defender with him, he doesn't create that space for him to run in behind and score these 2 goals. And this is why this whole team, I'm so upset at how this game went, because this is what I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to talk about the changes, the injuries, the own goals. I wanted to talk about this. Everyone in the first half pretty much had a great performance, especially Bruno.
Sancho wasn't great in the first half.
Who?
Sancho wasn't great in the first half.
Sancho, but I already said that. Yeah, I didn't want to single him out again, but yeah, he didn't really have a good first half. He could have had an early goal. If that goal goes in the first 20 seconds, maybe we would have been talking different. But pretty much almost everyone in the first half in our attacking unit had a really good first half. So just wanted to say that about Bruno before I go.
Yeah, can I to wrap up my point, Sarah?
Yeah, go on, mate. Go on.
Yeah, look, I thought we did play better without Rashford. I did. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but I thought we did. Personally,
you are wrong.
Did we play better without? Did we play better without him in the second half?
Well, no, we didn't play better without Bruno and Martial. That was the problem. They took Marcel and Bruno are our best players. Even in the second half at the start, Martial starts off a counter attack. He starts it off. Anthony should have scored. Martial was sensational.
Yeah, Johnny. The reason why
just
you're wrong.
Sec, KJ. I want to get to the manager.
Okay.
I just want to get to the manager. I'm not saying I'm Ten Hag out at all, so I need to just. It's sad that I have to preface it with that all the time.
Yeah,
because people could. Oh, I'm not Ten Hag out. I'm fully behind the manager still, 100%. But these decisions, man, it's becoming a bit too frequent. Liverpool, Newcastle today. It needs to learn. He needs to use this season as a learning curve and fix up for next year. Because what are you doing taking off Martial and Bruno off in the second half? When you listen, 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline. It's a dangerous scoreline to go to Sevilla with, to go to Spain, which will be a hostile crowd. The way Martial was playing and the way Bruno was playing, that third goal, given it 15-20 minutes, would have come. I'm confident it would have come. Because you did that, you handed over the impetus to fucking Sevilla. What happens is that point, and not just that, where the way we started the first half was the intensity. Like, honestly, I can't even. It was such a joy to watch that first half. Such a joy. Second half, no intensity. As soon as Marcel and Bruno came off, there was no intensity. And I have to question the players' attitude. Because it shouldn't be a case of, if Casemiro goes off, or if Bruno goes off, or if Marcel goes off, the collective should still be able to support the team. The fact that 2 players go off and we capitulate like that, and people will blame De Gea. I don't think it was De Gea's fault. People will go for De Gea today, but I don't think it was De Gea's fault. I think that
They had nothing to do all game.
De Gea's distribution.
I think the manager, he has to. For me, he's got to hold that today. He cost us that game for me because
100%.
Your 2 best players, you take them off with a 2-0 scoreline. Get the third goal like you said, Terry. Just get that third goal and we're good. We're good. And Lissandro Martinez, I don't think he's going to be back till next season now.
It's over, bro.
Maybe even Christmas, because he couldn't even walk. Bless him.
Like, I'm hoping. It looks like a Achilles, but there was a little slight ankle roll. I'm hoping it's ligaments in the ankle. But either way, season done.
And now, Terry, you look at Sevilla away. You look at Brighton in the FA Cup. Like, we've got some big fixtures coming up. Lissandro being out, man, like that is such a blow for his mentality, his quality on the ball. You can't replace him. So look, it's been a really, really bittersweet day today because I was buzzing. Like second half, I was buzzing at half time. Now it's just ruined my night. Absolutely ruined my night.
I hear you on. That's right. You were going to say something, Dizzy?
Yeah, I was going to say, and this today, Newcastle, Liverpool, these games like today, these are the reasons why I never once felt like we were in a title race, because I think we can blame Ten Hag in a little bit, for a large part of today. But then if you look at it like this, the reason why we've had to play a relatively consistent starting 11 is because there's nobody on the bench that can come on and have a serious impact. For real, we're Garnacho out, with Pelistri an unknown quantity, with Elanga on the bench who's wholly ineffective, with Vegas who's wholly ineffective. There's no real midfield substitutions that are worth their weight in water, let alone gold. With the defensive subs, I don't think we have any that like you can come on and you feel confident about. This is why we weren't in a title race, and I think now it gets real sticky for the second leg and top 4 finish, because I don't have any trust in the men that men that are gonna step up, to be honest.
It just shows that we need more investment, and
Yep.
we'll wait until what happens with the ownership situation. But no one can sit here and say, "Oh, Man United's team squad has been perfect for 10 years," and the only reason why they haven't won anything is because they've been bad. No, like the ownership is what it is. But I just want to challenge Johnny's point about Rashford being like we played better without Rashford. That's not true. Like I'm going to say that you're wrong, like just full out wrong, because it's not because Rashford wasn't there. It's because Martial was there. If Martial, we got to remember, Martial and Rashford together probably are our highest scoring players together. They probably assist each other the most. People trying to put Rashford against Martial in any way, shape, or form, for me, is foolish because both of them together play our best football. If Rashford was playing instead of Sancho today, I don't care how techie Sancho is, and I love Sancho. Sancho is a baller. I absolutely love him. But I don't care how silky his touches are, how good he is at drag backs and step overs and link up play. Rashford scores today with Martial because their chemistry above anyone else's is the best in the team. When Martial came on in the last game, you saw it. Rashford just knew where he was. Those two were linking up. So for you to say, Johnny, that we play better without Rashford in the team is wrong, because with Rashford and Martial in the team, we would play even better and score more goals. Because guess what? Goals is more important than aesthetics. We looked good today, but guess what? We drew because we didn't score more than 2 goals.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
So I was going to say that I agree with where KJ is coming from. And for me, the reason why Bruno looked better, the reason we haven't done this for such a long time. Sabitzer was in Bruno's old role tonight. That's because Bruno is a better technician from deeper than Sabitzer. And Sabitzer's probably played 5, 6, 7 games in that double type pivot for us. People don't call it a pivot. They might call it 8 or 6. I get so confused now. I'm just going to call it what I used to call it as a kid, central midfield. I think we overcomplicate it now, and football isn't a complicated sport. The way he was making those runs from deep were because Martial was able to hold the ball up. Martial holds the ball up differently to Rashford. Rashford, when he plays as a 9, he's an off-the-shoulder 9. He's a different type of footballer than Anthony Martial. We were a better team with Martial in it. But tonight, if Rashford would have been out on that left-hand side, that would have been somebody even making more runs on that side. His interplay over there would have been good as well. And I don't think we would have faded as much. Sancho had a good start to the game. I think the first 20, 25 minutes, I was really impressed with him. After that, he did absolutely nothing. Rashford might fade as well. He could have done. He might have been part of the fade. But we also know up until the 90th minute, the guy's dangerous. He's got as many match winners this season as any other striker in English football. So I don't buy this notion that we were better tonight without him. We were really good against Everton at the weekend. Rashford was in the team. We were really good against Brentford. Rashford was in the team. We were really good home and away against Barcelona with Rashford in the team. But Martial wasn't there those days. And I just don't buy into this notion of I knew what I was going to see from people as soon as we were playing well and Rashford wasn't on the football pitch. You'll get the same next week. If we look really good away against Sevilla, it will be, look how good we are without Bruno in midfield. People are so quick.
But Terra, it's
Rashford, so quick to jump on him.
It's Rashford's interplay and Sancho's interplay today that I have a problem with. That's my problem. I'm sure if you give Rashford chances, Terra, he's going to score them. Well, start saying that. He's not even been that clinical, but he's been getting the goals this season. But, like...
Rashford's not being clinical.
Rashford not being clinical.
Rashford's not being clinical.
Guys,
he hasn't.
No. Recent games.
No,
hang on. What do you mean? Not clinical.
How many chances he's missed?
How many?
Like, listen, he's got his goals like in the league, but he's missed a lot of chances, Terry.
Yo, bro, Johnny, do you know how many chances Harry Kane will miss? And have you seen Haaland? Have you seen how many chances Haaland misses? Strikers miss the goal, bro.
But this is not
it's normal.
Like Martial, he's not even played as many as Rashford. He's got a better goals to game ratio than Rashford.
Johnny, play Martial for as many games as you've played Rashford. I guarantee he misses as many shots and goals.
He doesn't. We all know Martial's more clinical than Rashford.
Let's not hold on.
It's not Johnny. You're putting an unrealistic expectation on Rashford here. When it's
I'm not taking anything away from Rashford. Right, without his goals this season, we would be in shit. I'm not discrediting him for that, but he hasn't been clinical.
Yes, he has, because
I
there's
don't
been
agree
games
with
where
that.
there's games where we've won 1-0 because Rashford has taken 1 out of 3 shots that he's had. That is clinical.
He's missed loads of chances, KJ.
No,
Yeah, but so
hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
that you're thinking
Whoa, slow down.
is
Hang on, KJ, wait. What's a good conversion rate in your eyes? How many chances out of 10 should you be scoring?
If you get like, to me, clinical's like you get 2 chances, you score 1 of them. That's clinical to me.
So
There's not a
50%
soul
conversion.
on
So
earth that does
hang on,
that.
guys. I'm just breaking this down. So you think a 50% conversion rate?
Like Marcel
soul.
at his best, Jeff United, he was super clinical under Ole. Remember? Do you remember?
Not a soul alive has a 50%
So
conversion rate.
what season was that then?
It was I think it was Ole's first main season, I want to say.
So that would have been 19 to 20, yeah.
Bro, there's not a soul that has a 50% conversion rate.
So just looked here. In that season, Anthony Martial had a 28% conversion rate. Marcus Rashford this season, 29%.
Bro,
might be season after. I said might, not definitively. Might be season
It's
after.
definitely not the season after that, because Martial fell off the cliff after that.
This is the thing, though. Again, Rashford has scored nearly 30% of his chances this season. That is a very high conversion rate. It's like Haaland, right? We know Haaland's a better finisher than Rashford. We all agree. He's on 42%. So he's 12% better than Rashford, right? Which means he scores just over 1 more goal in 10 chances than Rashford.
I don't know how people think Rashford's clinical. I generally don't get it.
He's got 28 goals this season.
This season has been the most clinical Rashford has ever been. Overall, yes, he takes a lot of chances to score, but so do so many strikers in the world. It's so normal to not have a 50% strike. Like, Haaland's a freak. Let's remember this. Haaland is a freak. Ronaldo and Messi in their pumps, freaks. Mbappe, when he's on form, is a freak. Conversion rates over 30% are not normal. You're fortunate as a striker at 15%.
When I've been watching Rashford this season, for me, I don't think he's been clinical. I think he's been getting the goals, but I wouldn't call it clinical. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I'm not saying my opinion's right.
But getting the goals, by definition, I mean, Victor Osimhen, is he clinical?
I don't watch him. So
Victor Osimhen's looked at as one of the best strikers in the world. He scores 2% less chances than Rashford. And he's looked at as the best striker in the world. This is the thing. This is the thing with eye tests. When you compare the eye test to facts, if they don't match, then your eye test is off.
To me, like Terry, like if you're missing like loads of chances, then scoring a goal, that's not clinical to me.
Has Rashford been missing loads of gilt-edged easy chances this season?
I think he's missed loads of chances. Yeah, loads.
Not gilt edge. He's missed long shots. There's some like the other day against Everton, he should have maybe scored that 1-on-1. Cool.
But my main point, the main point that I started with this year, Sancho and Rashford's like interlink players not been that good. That was my main point. I don't think it's been good at all. I feel like Anthony's been good with Martial tonight, but the left hand side, I don't think it's been good. I don't think it's good enough. And it's like I feel like we need something else there. I actually like these days prefer Rashford at 9. I think he's actually doing better at 9.
So again, I don't think it matters about the set positions. I know that Adam last week disagreed when we spoke about this, but I like the interchange. And what I love about Martial and Rashford playing together is that they can both, between them, you don't do it every 5 minutes, but between the two of them, they can switch. Between the two of them, 1 minute, one can be 9, one can go to the left, because they can play both positions. Sancho can't do that. Just on big chances this season. So in the Premier League this year, big chances misses. That's where like you think they're going to score and they miss. Gabriel Jesus has missed 14. Ollie Watkins 15. Ivan Toney 16. Mo Salah 16. Rashford 16. Darwin Núñez 18. Erling Haaland's missed 20 big chances this year. So Rashford isn't missing gilt-edged chances exponentially more than any other player in the Premier League. The one person whose ratio is really good this year, and we all know he's a better finisher than Rashford, is Harry Kane, who's only missed 10 as an example. Again, I think what you're doing, Johnny, I know you don't like Marcus Rashford, and I think what you're doing is every mistake he makes, I believe you're over-indexing and overplaying it. And then when he's not around, or somebody else is in the team, or something else looks good, I think you're over-egging it and going, right, see, without him, we'd be a much, much better team. At the end of the day, Rashford's been our superstar attacker this year. He's here to stay. He's just an absolute colossus. He's a colossus.
If I may.
Like, this is what I struggle with. I don't understand, like, colossus. I don't like these superstar. Like, I watch Rashford. I don't see that kind of player.
If I may.
Johnny, okay, I get that you don't see a superstar in Rashford in terms of what you
Like,
think a
you know, I watched
superstar is.
Vinny last night against Manchester United. Vinny Jr. is clear of Rashford.
Yeah, listen,
The two things can be true at the same time.
Vinny Jr. is a great player, so I'm not going to argue what your preference is. But what Rashford does, if anyone else was doing it, they would call him one of the best in the world, or was such a baller.
No, but this is the thing, KJ. One second. I'm not sat here saying
when Rashford's running from the
I'm not
halfway
sat here
line.
saying. I'm not
No,
sat here saying
one
that
sec, Johnny,
Rashford's
I'm
a
sorry.
bad player.
I'm sorry.
KJ,
Let
I'm
me
not
just
saying
finish
he's a
what I'm
bad
saying.
player.
And I can,
Hang on, let KJ finish. Let KJ finish his point.
When Rashford's scoring goals this season, he scored goals from the halfway line and running at defenders, scoring goals. He's scoring goals with his weaker foot. That last season, like years before, he weren't scoring many left-footed goals. He scored goals with his head, more headers than he's done in his entire United career. He's done this season. He scored goals to win games. He scored goals to equalize games. He's got an assist to help us in important moments. Those are superstar qualities. Haaland, superstar for Manchester City. The amount of goals he scores is phenomenal. Yeah, Harry Kane, superstar. But Rashford for United, for a superstar of the season, it's been Rashford. He's a guy that you look at, is like, rah. He looks like he could score at any moment and bring us through. That game against Real Betis, yes, he missed a gilt-edged chance. Frustrating, I know. But then he just goes and scores a screamer. Well, guess what? Superstars do that. That's why we love the game, because superstars can come out and do foolishness and amazing things out of nowhere. We used to bag on Rashford, bag on Bruno for individual brilliance. Well, guess who would love individual brilliance right now? Teams like Chelsea. They would love some of that.
Look, KJ, I know.
Guys, I gotta go.
All right,
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Cheers, mate. Thank you, bro.
KJ, I know Rashford's your guy, man. I know Terry's your guy too, and I respect it. I just don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. And that's not to say that I don't think he's a bad player. He's not a bad player at all. I think he's a very good player.
He doesn't have to be as good as people want him to be either. Like he's not world class.
People like,
I'm okay with that though.
But KJ, like people like saying like genuinely, the fan base putting me in conversations with Mbappe. Like the
Johnny. But the fan people that do that are 10-year-old kids on Twitter. Why are you paying any mind to them? Why are you paying it any attention?
I see it so much, Terry. Like
but from who? Bro. Do you see me do that?
No.
I'm not trying to catch you out here. Do you see KJ do it? Do you see any of the prominent Man United fans online do it? Any of the pundits do it? Any of the writers do it? Or do you see kids who don't even have their real name or face online do it? And if it is, why worry about it?
I do see the media and pundits do it. I won't see any of the prominent Man United accounts doing it. But the media and the pundits, I do think they put him in conversations that he's not in.
And I understand that. But I would say this again, right? If you're a Man United fan, you're seeing him being put in them conversations. As a United fan, why shoot it down? He's one of your own. Like, I think it's a mad one to shoot down. For instance, if suddenly the world wanted to crown Lisandro Martinez the best centre-back in the world, and I didn't think he was, I'm not going to disagree with it. I'm going to allow my guy to be seen as the best. Like, I don't see why we shoot down our own players.
Like, I'm so hungry to win a title, like I'm out in the Champions League, and I want our players to get these plaudits when they deserve it. Like I
understand.
Do you get what I'm saying, Terry?
I understand that. So let me ask you this question. Do you think if Alan Shearer on Match of the Day says that Rashford's the best player in the world, do you think that that's going to sway the mind of Erik ten Hag to say, "Oh, might as well keep him there"? Alan Shearer said it.
It's like when I hear stuff like that.
So let me finish. Okay. Our manager's mind is not going to be swayed, and he'll pick the best players possible. And if he can sign better, he will. Why does it matter what anybody else says about him?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just a character flaw.
For me, I think what it is, I think you don't like him, and when you see him getting praised, it triggers you personally.
No.
You don't like him that much.
So this notion that I don't like Rashford or hate him is wrong. I think he's a good player, a very good player. It's like when the fan base did to Bruno. I think he was a good player. They're putting him on levels that they're not on for me. Like why can't they let players just be where they are?
Yeah, Johnny.
You know the maddest part for me? You know the maddest part of all this for me? How this has become a Rashford debate when he didn't touch the pitch is preposterous to me.
Superstar energy, bro. You don't chat about superstars when they're not playing, bro.
I'll say this also. What's it called? Update from Ten Hag. It's not an Achilles. It's not in that area. It looks like it will be it's more likely to be a tendon for Martinez. So, he's probably going to be out for the season. But at least it's not as bad as
Not an
people
Achilles.
first
That's
thought.
good. I did say the way it rolled, it looks like the top of the foot as well. I've rolled my ankle when jogging,
Yeah.
that way before. And you're absolutely right about the. I want to go to some super chats here, gents, that have come in. Chrissy Talks Football says, man said Terry hold that when Terry's been holding it the whole stream. Man says criticize Ten Hag when Terry called out Ten Hag multiple times. Yeah, people do it all the time. It's almost like I don't say enough nasty things about my own players. It kind of triggers them. Rate him or not, celebration of injuries is inhumane. I totally agree. It's and again, I just hope there's a lot of Arsenal fans I've seen in the comments do it. I hope the football gods ain't watching you. I just hope the football gods are not watching you. Messi will destroy people who attack his friend. By the way, I want to actually say a massive shout out to the two guys. I forget their names who carried the
Monreal?
Yeah. Like fair play. I know they're teammates. I think they're teammates. They Argentinians.
Yeah.
Fair play to them. Like, that was really nice to see. It's a really, really good act. Jay says second half is like witchcraft. Everything fell apart, bro. It was. We dropped off a long time before the subs happened, but that's also the point I was trying to get to. We kind of got away on the Rashford stuff. I understood Martial coming off. I think he faded. And I think he faded because he hasn't played football for a long time. I got that substitution for Weghorst. That made sense to me. Sancho, though, faded after 20 minutes. And that's why I was frustrated that people were over-indexing the team without Rashford when that left-hand side was really poor for the majority of the game. And Rashford's been an absolute star for the majority of the season. And him and Martial together would have been brilliant. I think by the time Martial comes off at 60 minutes, if Rashford was playing, we would have got the third or fourth goal. I truly believe that. Why? Because we score more goals than Rashford plays with us. And them two, honestly, their relationship, the level of goals they score as a combination between them, their interplay with one another is brilliant. He says, I understand the subs, but we were toothless after the subs. So I agree they were bad in hindsight. And by the way, listen, this is the thing with the manager. He didn't try to mess the game up. He tried to make us better. This is why I'm like annoyed, but he's just got to learn from that, right? I can't have a front three of those guys, no Bruno behind them. And I think especially throwing like Eriksen on again, he hasn't played for ages. It was a weird one. But there we go. This is another thing that he said tonight. Someone put a comment in here, says, I haven't spoken to Rafa Varane after the game, but it's an injury that he's complained about for the past couple of weeks. So we have to see how that is now. He's gonna miss some games.
Oh, flipping now. This is what we do. We don't need this right now. Honestly, we don't need it.
We don't. Let me guess. Maguire going to say it wasn't his fault. By the way, it wasn't. I don't like Maguire, but it wasn't Maguire's fault that own goal happened. It was a freak accident. Surely no one believes it was his fault.
No. It's just ironic when it is just the timing is just ironic because he just came out and said, I have nothing to prove. Every time we played, we've won. It's just terrible.
Again, I truly believe this. Honestly, when I was a kid and I started going Old Trafford, there's certain things that people in the stadium would say. It was like, you don't gloat, you don't like laugh at teams before players are meant to work hard, you don't give it the big un. So when people are like, honestly, you don't give it the big un. That's why I'm annoyed with what Neek said. That isn't the Man United way. According to people like at the club, that's not what they do. It's a weird thing they've got. Do you know what I mean? If we have a sign that says hated, adored, but never ignored, and it's almost like just let the hate come and just like gently knock it back. That's what all the old heads at Old Trafford used to say to me when I was going as a kid. And wait 1 second, mate. But when you start like giving it the big one, like Maguire's done, the football gods, bruv. Saying Rashford is not clinical is crazy. I'm an Arsenal fan. Agendas is what Martin says here. He has missed plenty of easy chances. He has, but so has everybody. I saw Haaland when City dropped points to Nottingham Forest, kick the ball over from 2 yards out, and it didn't just go over. It almost left the stadium. It happens. It's normal. But again, we over-index. Rashford's conversion rate this year is at 28%. In the greatest ever calendar year of Messi's career, where he scored nearly 100 goals, his conversion rate that year was 16%. Does that mean he's not clinical? No. It just means you always miss more chances than you score. The great late Sir Jimmy Greaves. I met him. I was very lucky to meet him once, an after dinner event my dad was at. And I heard him up on stage, and he basically said, someone asked him, like, do you wish you scored more goals or whatever else? And he said, look, he goes, I wish I'd scored the goals I missed. Because I'd have 10 times more goals. He said it used to take me, it was like 1 in 10 attempts on goal I'd score from. And that's the greatest goal scorer England's had until Harry Kane. So hearing that from him as a kid, Rashford's clinical, but that's just me. If you guys don't want him, I'll fly from South Africa just to drive him to the Emirates. No, we want our Rashi. Well, I do. Chuck here. Long time no see, Chuck. He says some United fans are just so ungrateful the way they talk about Rashi and Bruno. You'll deserve Lingard in the 10. And, do you remember him, Manchu, at the 9? Do you guys remember him? That was a 2008 player. Braids and all that. The worst, Mr. Bond. Thank you very much. That guy was an absolute... There was a lot of hype about him. But yes, Sabitzer, Johnny, you're right. Sabitzer tonight in that 10 role. What a performance from him.
Yeah, I think he was brilliant. I think them 2 finishes for him were easy. I don't think they were easy. I think it was the first one he took it on the half turn. He had to adjust his body position and get it off the first time. Very good from him. I think he had a very good game from Sabitzer, and I feel like Marcel and Bruno are sort of taking all the praise tonight for obvious reasons, but I feel like he was a bit of a unsung hero tonight. I thought he did his job well. It was good on the ball, and I thought it gave the manager something to think about. I think he's giving the manager something to think about. It's going into next season. I think he's got better as his loan spell's gone on. I thought tonight was probably his best performance in the United shirt. And yeah, look, he was the definition of clinical tonight. 2 chances, 2 goals. But yeah, man, I just feel like he deserves to get his praise tonight, man. He does. I don't think he's got enough.
You know what with Sabs, yeah? Man like Sabs. I love Sabs. I've liked him for a long time. But he is coming United, and from January, it's been so disrupted with suspensions, injuries, so many games that he's not really been able to get a proper flow. He started his games with Fred. Like
as a DM.
Yeah, as a DM. And he's not a DM. He's an 8 or a number 10. Like, those are the 2 positions that he plays. He started off with Fred, played some games with McTominay. He's only played like 2 games and a half with Casemiro. So the fact that we're seeing this now from him, and again, those 2 goals are so important for us because we're not going down to Sevilla in 2-0. You know what I mean? Like, it's 2-2. So those 2 goals are important. I personally would like to see him stay. I think he's an upgrade on our midfield options that we've got. He looks so happy to be here. The man joined Bayern Munich, the biggest club in Germany, posted about them 3 times. He came here, and from January onwards, he has posted about us non-stop. He's in love with the club. We need someone like that with his experience as well to come in. He's willing to be on the bench, be a squad player, but also play important roles. I think he's a perfect £20 million signing to bolster the squad with next season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mate, he's been excellent. And again, I was just looking here, in his first 5 games in the league, he played as DM, which is not his position. And I thought he looked rank average. The last 2 or 3 games, he's played as an attacking midfield player, and he looks brilliant. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Eriksen's fully fit, because I think Bruno will go back into that role and position. But I think what we might be seeing with Sabitzer is someone that could really challenge Bruno Fernades, which we need. Again, I love Bruno, but I'm not married to him. If Sabitzer comes in and outperforms him, then you
don't lie, Terry.
No, mate, brother, listen. If somebody outperforms Bruno Fernades, I want Bruno Fernades on the bench because I don't care.
I know he's your secret son. I
don't care about.
With Terry's history, it could be his secret son. We never know, bro.
I mean, I was a busy boy when I was younger. All over Europe, all over Europe. In fairness, I haven't got the rattiness though. He's got a bit of a rat face.
Terry, can I ask you a question?
Yeah. So let me just finish making my point. Right. Like for me, I think you can really challenge and be what Donny van der Beek should have been for us. Someone that comes in and challenges Bruno in that position. Not just a backup. I don't want a backup to Bruno. I want someone that can challenge him for his first team position because that pressure is what creates diamonds. And I think for me, what we've seen in this last few weeks from Man United is good, the bad, the ugly. We're not a settled team yet. And I still think that when this summer happens, as long as we've got new owners and we can spend well, when we have a settled base in midfield, you'll see better from the Brunos and Sabitzers in the attacking positions. When we have a settled base, you'll see even better from our attacking individuals. Whether it's Martial next year as the 9, I don't think it will be. I think it'll be an out-and-out number 9 who could hold up the play and bring the Rashfords and the Antonys and the deep running midfielders into play like we saw tonight. You'll see a much more balanced Man United. And it's why, as much as I'm going to criticize Ten Hag, and by the way, I've just tweeted about something about him as well. I'll come to that in a minute. It was a rare L from him tonight, but he'll learn from that. But when we say he'll learn from it, I still think he'll make these subs in a year's time. But in a year's time, he'll have better players coming on that can maintain the levels. The reason I'm saying the subs are wrong isn't the action that he took. It's the lack of quality coming on from that bench that was a major problem. And before I go to your question, Johnny, this has just come out now. And this is why I called fans idiots for attacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for this a little while ago. Ten Hag in his press conference said that he was warned by the fourth official that Antony and Fernandes were close to getting red cards in terms of one more foul they were off. So he took Bruno off to protect him, which because he didn't want to go down to 10 men in the game.
Yeah.
But that's an L because most I think it's something like 97% of players at a book don't get sent off. And I remember Man United fan base got angry at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for not taking Fred off half time when he was booked. And I said at the time, again, that was over-indexed in a situation based on something that 99.9% of managers never ever do. But we hated Ole. And that's why I'm annoyed at Ten Hag. He did it because he thought Bruno might get sent off. Bruno was probably never going to get sent off.
That Ole one, yeah, I know it's because it was worse because of the way the fan base felt about him. But everyone and their nan could have saw that Fred was getting his ass sent off. But that was how bad he was that day.
No, I understand where you're coming from, but still, 97% of the time you're wrong. So for me, it's a case of like hold it until later. But you had a question for me, Johnny boy.
Yeah, look, about a broader point, I feel like these capitulations they've happened quite a few times this season. They happened at the start of the season with Brighton and Brentford, obviously Manchester, Liverpool twice. Tonight again, these big games, although I won't call Brentford and Brighton with all due respect to them big games, right? But it's happening a lot. And I feel like tonight's second half, whether it's a mentality problem, a lack of a right application, attitude, complacency, do you think there's an issue that's potentially arising with this squad of players?
No, I don't think there's any issues. I think there's a lack of overall quality and balance. So I still look at tonight and think to myself, AWB for me isn't good enough. Maguire came on, isn't good enough. David De Gea, in terms of playing out from the back, isn't good enough. Malacia isn't at the level yet. You've got, we were controlling the game when we had Bruno and Casemiro and Sabitzer in the middle, right? So they're good enough. But Alanga isn't good enough. Weghorst isn't good enough.
Yep.
Sancho right now isn't proving that he's good enough.
Yep.
So you look at that and think to yourself, I'm talking 80% of the team. This is about long-term improving the quality. You've got to remember at the start of the season, we weren't happy with this squad. None of us were happy with this squad. We are overachieving this season to be where we are in all competitions and to be where we are in the league. Because, and by the way, not all of Ten Hag's signings are going to make it. And again, people will try and when it's Man United, terrible purchases. How many purchases of fullbacks did Pep make until he got it right? 2 or 3 in each position.
Goalkeepers, same thing.
Twice, and that's not a dig at him. You know, he bought Calvin Phillips this summer. That hasn't worked for one reason or another so far. It might push on next year. All managers, Fergie made bad signings, Wenger made bad signings, Jose made bad signings. So Malacia may end up turning out to be, because so far I've not been that impressed with him. People focus because he was 13 million though. Nobody really cares. This is about improving the quality of our squad. If you were to literally, we just take Premier League players we know, right? If you threw it onto that left hand side tonight, Martinelli coming on instead of Alanga as an example. If it wasn't Weghorst coming on and it was Ivan Toney as an example, just those two individuals. I think we see the game out. If we, left back wise, if we had a Ben Chilwell coming on rather than a Malacia, I'm just naming. I know he got sent off the other night, but he's a pretty good left back in my opinion. The team's just crap at Chelsea right now. It's all about quality, mate. And I think that you've seen when we have our best players available, we're at our best. But when you scratch beneath that surface, there's a problem, and that's why, mate, this manager isn't playing his ideal style of football yet. His ideal style of football he doesn't want to play on the transition as regularly as he does. He wants to dominate the ball and break down those low blocks. But he can't do it with the overall personnel that he's got. You saw, though, in this first half today, I say you had Rashford on that left-hand side. I still think he wants a better ball-playing fullback in AWB and maybe a better ball-playing goalkeeper. And we'd outclass them. We'd dominate the ball. We'd be a much better team. You saw the midfield today. Probably our 3 best midfielders at the club, plus Eriksen. And suddenly we dominated the midfield. And I know they're not doing very well this year, Sevilla, but I've seen us go up against teams in the relegation zone in the Premier League with McFred, and we can't dominate the ball. So I get what
today,
the reason why I'm not panicking, and I see a few people saying I'm waffling. You can say I'm waffling all I want, but I'm telling you now, sure as eggs are eggs, there's a quality issue with a lot of these Man United players. Some of them are bang average. Like Alanga's not a Premier League football player for me. You know, he just isn't. He isn't. I've said it from day one.
It's not.
I'm not sure if Malacia is good enough for the Premier League and Manchester United, as an example. Weghorst isn't a Premier League football player. So as we improve, you literally bring 5 quality players in this summer to this squad, take five less quality out, you know, and we'll be a much, much better team next year, my friend. I really do
One
believe
more
that.
question, Terry. One more question. Obviously, we saw I would argue, the best of Martial tonight and what Martial brings to the team. I know his availability this year has been nothing short of disgraceful. Whether that's down to his own fault or not, I don't think it is. I think it's injuries you can't help that. But obviously, you saw the best of him tonight. If he was to finish the season, because I feel like there comes a point, right, where you've got to let your head rule your heart. And obviously, as you know me a long time now, Terry. Marcel's my favourite player now, Pogba left. But I feel like, do we get his resale value up, allow him to finish the season strong, and capitalise on that, and bring somebody in that's more available with a similar attributes? Or if he finishes the season strong, do you take that? And I think it's a big chance, because I feel like, you know, his body's not helping him at the minute. Do you take that chance and risk next season? Because the other side of this coin is, you throw your transfer budget at Harry Kane, for example, right? We all know that Daniel Levy will be a very shrewd businessman, and we won't get Harry Kane for cheap. It'll probably cost us 75%, if not more, of our transfer budget. So I feel like the manager's got a decision to make. Where do you sell Martial to help fund Harry Kane, or do you keep Martial and put the money elsewhere?
You have to look at it. The availability. If Martial's fit 90% of the season, I say keep him and strengthen elsewhere. Equally, though, I think we're going to have new owners and no debt and have a lot of bloody money in the summer. So that changes the whole world altogether. I think we need to look at better and more availability than Martial. I love him as a player, but he's just too injury prone.
If I may, I think I don't even think Martial would be too mad at not being the starting striker for United. I think the last 2 seasons are well, if he's mad, then he's delusional. Because if you look at the last 2 seasons alone, there is nothing that warrants him being a starting striker at United. I love his quality. I love what he does when he's on the pitch, when he's on the ball, when he's feeling confident. But the reality of the situation is, if we had a fit striker this season, there is a very good chance we could have challenged for the league. I'm not saying win it, but we could have challenged. But he's just not that guy. So I think you bring in a striker and you keep Martial as a number 2.
He's that kind of player that I'll be frustrated with him, but every time I see him again, I fall back in love and want him back. He sucks me back in. He sucks me back in every damn time, bro.
This is my biggest issue. This is my biggest issue with Martial FC attacking Rashford and vice versa. I just look at it as a Man United fan and go, "You're all a bunch of pricks," because I like them both. I don't understand. This is the funniest thing. If you're a Martial stan and you stood in front of him and said what you say about Rashford, Martial slap you in your teeth. Martial's missus would be driving you off the road like she does these ex. That's Martial would slap you in your mouth if you said what you said about Rashford to him. And that's why I think stands are crazy. I've got to go to some super chats here, though, and some comments. Some of them are funny. This one here says, Terry comparing Rashford to Haaland because of one miss is the ultimate joke. This is peak comedy. So, again, you've missed the point. I'm clearly stating that Haaland is clear of Rashford as a finisher. But if the guy that's clear of him by a country mile misses big chances, Rashford missing big chances cannot be over-indexed as horrendous when a far superior striker misses them. It's praise for your player, my friend. I'm not comparing the two. I'm making an example. Terry, you spent over £1 billion. How can you moan about quality? Most of them are international players. So it's buying the right players for your team. Secondly, this manager for this system and this rebuild has not spent $1 billion. He spent just under 200 million. Lots of these players are not his, and it's going to take time to get his team playing. It took Pep Guardiola just over £600 million in his first 3 transfer windows to get you to a point where you went on to win your first league title. After your club had already spent nearly £2 billion in the process of him joining. So we're not going to suddenly sit here and make Ten Hag the only manager in Premier League history where we add up money spent before he arrived onto his total, because we don't do that to City, we don't do it to Liverpool, and we don't do it to any other football club. So we're debunking that one right now.
Get on to that, Terry, just real quick. How can you say this, but then laugh and banter us for saying with all our players are crap and overrated and not good enough. But when we moan that they're not good enough and not got the quality, it's how can you moan? Yeah, you spent money on them. Like,
1 minute they're saying our squad shit, and then when we say our squad shit, they go, yeah, but you spent 200 million. Yes, that's why we want our owners out, because they've wasted £1 billion on a shit squad.
Yeah, and they laugh at us for saying we spent money on a bad squad, but now we're saying it's bad.
But this is what happens. All right, bro.
Thanks for the
Cheers, mate. No worries, bro. Thank you for coming on.
Good night, Good night, guys.
Yeah, good
Cheers,
night, guys.
bro. Thank you. But this is what happens when you try to banter every element at a club. You end up contradicting your own points. You can't laugh at where you can't say we're overachieving. You can't say you're not overachieving, and then say we've got a shit squad, but then say we spent $1 billion and should be doing better. We know all this. That's why we're in a mess, bro. You're literally doing our job for us here. Someone here says Terry, so please stop using the word over-indexing. No, it's a great word to explain what fans do. Terry, would you take Zaha on a free? No.
To do what?
To play where?
To play in Rashford's position? No, Rashford's better. He's a better dribbler than Rashford, but Rashford will always outscore and perform. I know Johnny's gone. No, Johnny doesn't rate GA. Doesn't think it's important for football, but there. And Man United are overachieving because you all predicted that we'd finish about 7th or 8th. So we're definitely overachieving based on your. And again, if anyone could show me you predicted us being in the quarterfinals of the Europa League, winners of the League Cup, and in the top 4 at this stage, if you can show me that you tweeted that before the season started, I will gift £5,000 to you or your family. If you can show me that you said we would be, I'll give you £5,000 cash. No one will, because no one did it. So yeah, we're not overachieving, but we've achieved more than you. Like, if we've achieved more than you all expected, what is that called? What is the definition of that?
And not for nothing, I think we could still win this tie, you know. I think we could still beat Sevilla. It's going to be tough, but I think we can do it.
Listen, we're pissed off. We're frustrated right now in the moment. But we can win this game. Like, it's not like over and done. We just have to overcome UEL Sevilla powers. It's strong. But we can do that. We've shown, like, if we can beat Barcelona, who are supposed to be the best team in Spain, and supposed to be like on this resurgence and have all these great players now, Lewandowski, who else have they got? The Uruguayan centre back, Blade, Pedri, Gav. If we can beat that, then we can beat Sevilla away. It's doable. Will it be easy? No.
No.
Is it a bank? Is a banker? No. Will it be 5, 6, 7-0? No. Before anyone says, "Oh, okay, Jason, you can beat them easy," it won't be easy. It will be a very difficult tie to beat, but we can do it. Anyone thinking that we can't, listen, the football gods, isn't it? That's what I'm saying.
No, mate, yeah. I don't think we're out of this. I'm just absolutely annoyed at and I know that people are triggered by me tonight because they're talking about my fake laugh, and you two have been me privately. Yeah, you know my fake laugh. And someone here says, "Hey, you don't have 100K." Well, there's a screenshot of my bank account. Do you want to see? This is just my current account. Terry,
bro, Terry.
Man, like money.
So the point I'm making is, when I challenge people to give you money, if you can come on and debunk me, the money's sitting there ready to go. That's just my current account. That's just with my debit card daily spending.
Also,
you want to do it?
Terry said flex.
Don't come give it a big one to me. I'm going to stand up. When I offered 100 grand to someone that could debunk me live on air, I meant it. Man meant it. I ain't rolling around like no brokey, bruv.
Or listen.
That's what it really is.
All I'm saying is Terry's got that in the bank, but I'm out here shivering in the cold as his employee, and you know what I'm saying?
It just annoys me. It just annoys me, right? Bruv, I'm not losing money in inflation. I need that money. That money gets spent a lot. But yeah. But from my point of view, in fairness, I had a big bit come in recently because I had a global beta that come to an end of 3 years. That was good yield, you know. Good yield, 8.5% per year, brother. It's not bad. Low risk as well.
Here, Terry.
You know. But this is the thing. Like, I turn around to people when I say, if you come on the air, and I'm offering you free cash if you can beat me in a debate, because you all sit there in the comments abusing me. Terry don't mean it. Terry ain't this. I prove you wrong. Come on the air. Challenge me. It's rupees. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not real. In fairness, I just took a fake picture off the internet. That's all I did. It's not really my bank account. I'm sorry. It's not really my bank account. Jesus. No, I'm just, it's crazy to me. Sold the Mbappe card. Nah, bruv, I ain't sold that yet. Then little Tops cards are doing me good.
But Also, I wanted to say this about Rashford. Obviously the Mbappe comparisons as far as stylistically and what they bring to a team. Obviously, it's not the same. But if you look at Rashford's output this season, isn't he only behind Haaland and Mbappe?
I think he's behind Mbappe by 1, and a lot of Mbappe's goals are in the Uber Eats League, and he's quite a way behind Haaland by about 10 or 11.
This is what I'm
GA.
saying.
But yeah, it's.
But Terry, GA don't matter. So those players are all terrible because GA don't mean a thing. I actually think Saint Maximin is better than them because he can do a little shimmy, jiggy, and he's got no GA. There you go.
I get you. My man here says it shows that Terry's rattled, sharing the bank. Haha, wet wipe move. Oh, you man calling me a liar is the rattled move. I just shut down the detractors. I just proved my point. I say I'll offer you something if you can debunk me. You say you don't have it. I prove I've got it, and then I'm rattled in a wet wipe. That you got it the wrong way around, brother. God, you youngsters don't know how to banter. You really, really don't. But there we go. Look, as I said, I think we can get through to the next round, but we will see. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, a big thank you to all of you. My super chatters, you're amazing. I love you. My members, you're amazing. All of my subscribers, even though a lot of you banter me, I genuinely appreciate all of you. Dizzy, KJ, thank you all very, very much indeed. Do me a big favor and smash the like button before you leave. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon.